most amusing thing you may read all day is this: you can now spend $40,000 on a Volkswagen Golf, a Golf. That which was once known as the Rabbit, which has a flat roof, 5 portals, and is the closest thing to a perfectly cubic car, seemingly engineered by those perfectionist Germans to conjoin with other cubes into an exact grid of dense traffic for the purpose of maximum utilization of the urban road space, now costs 40 Gs. It also has nearly 300 horsepower and hits 60 miles per hour in 4.5 seconds. Well, if you live long enough, you'll see everything. Histrionics aside, nobody who has been paying attention will be at all surprised by our $39,910 Golf. Our Volkswagen has been working up to this achievement for some time, first with the Golf VR6, then the V6 4Motion, then the R32. Way back in the late 80s, there were also 2 heavy-breathing homologation specials, the Rally Golf and Golf G60, that never came to the States because America wasn't yet ready for a car shaped like a cake box and priced like a Porsche. Most of us still aren't ready, even for one priced like a BMW, though 5,500 Yanks snapped up the 2012 and 2013 Golf R's base price, $34,760. That was 500 more than expected, Volkswagen tells us, so Germany has sent us a new model. This Golf R is different from the last one, a toy era limited edition of the Titor hatch intended to get people doing cartwheels over the old, outgoing Golf V platform. This time, the R arrives earlier in the platform cycle and, we're told, for a longer stay and in more flavors. 2 trim levels, a base and a nav explained forthwith, are complemented by the choice of 2 transmissions, a 6-speed DSG dual-clutch automatic or a 6-speed stick, the latter cutting $1,100 off the price. So why is our test car infected with a DSG? Because the stick comes later this year, sometime in the summer, we're told. We have driven the stick, and it's nice. About 40% of our buyers are expected to take the stick. They will be happy. The Golf R exists because of MQB, one big platform family that lets you spread components far and wide over its various brands. Effectively, you're looking at an Audi S3 in hatchback form, down to the identical output ratings of the EA888 2.0-liter turbo for a 292 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. Ditto for the Haldex 4-wheel drive system, which uses an electronically controlled coupler to distribute torque to the rear wheels, and brake-based traction control to handle side-to-side torque distribution. This Super Golf, this Audi TT shooting brake, is a decidedly unflashy car for the price. The 19-inch wheels on the upper trim level and the 4 pipes in back are prime giveaways, as are the small R badges and the extra chin and side plastic on the exterior. Inside, where white stitching contrasts nicely with black leather and dashes of both glossy black and carbon trim adorn the surfaces, there are a few subtle R logos here and there. Spears of blue accent lighting course around the doors, blue being the official color of R while red remains the color of GTI. To untrained eyes, this is just a very nicely trimmed Golf, and that is the way Volkswagen rolls: no wings, no dive planes, minimal kitsch. If you're contemplating a Benz-GLA 45 AMG for its mash-upper performance and to-box practicality but are turned off by its ridiculous clown costume or its price, then the R is your car. When we think of the ultimate Volkswagen, the Golf R is much more likely to come to mind than, say, the big Phaeton or Touareg. It's also unflashy in the way it operates, the engine muffled to a mechanized thrum that is augmented by an electronic underhood buzzer. VW calls it the sound actor. In normal driving, you barely notice the car's voice at all, just background murmurs punctuated by the occasional and today, fairly pro forma in German performance cars buzz blap from the exhaust during a hard upshift. But the sound actor goes a little berserk at high revs, and the result is a coarse, artificial abomination strong enough to vibrate the steering wheel. There are online videos aplenty detailing how to disconnect this device. The R claims big horsepower from small displacement, but the punch can either be devastating or an interminable wait depending on how you're operating it. Light the fuse early by downshifting manually before nailing it, and the R leaps forward on a rocket plume. that makes fast road driving a therapeutic thrill as you rally blast from one corner to the next. However, if you're dawdling in automatic mode and suddenly decide to go for a traffic hole, seconds tick by after you mat it while the gearbox selects an appropriate ratio with all the deliberative haste of the Second Continental Congress. Then the engine begins boiling up the turbo. This delay doesn't show up in our test data, the 2.8-second 30 to 50 passing time seeming plenty quick enough. But take our word for it, the engine is occasionally caught breathless, the wait for power seeming like an eternity when a cement mixer is bearing down, high beams ablaze. One driver went so far as to call the R's time delay dangerous. Solution? Use the pedals in those situations, or just get the stick. In full middle jacket mode, the RDSG generated test numbers close to that of the 305 horsepower Subaru WRX STI, one of the R's few competitors. The short story, with the advantage of launch control, the R is slightly quicker out of the gate, reaching 60 miles per hour 0.1 second earlier in the quarter mile in the same 13.2 seconds. The braking stat, 157 feet, also nearly matches the STI's. The V-dub pulled 0.94 grams on the skid pad, identical to the Subaru. There's nothing particularly fancy about the all-steel multi-links in the back or the steel control arms bracing the struts in front, which suspend the R 0.8 inch lower than the nearly identically configured GTI. But revised tuning in the 4-driven 23,535 Bridgestone Potenza RE050 as give the car a gummy death grip on the road and a flatness to its handling that dispels all the old stereotypes of roly-poly Golfs. The optional DCC, or Dynamic Chassis Control, puts electronic variability into the shocks. VW hired Hans Joachim Stuck, Germany's undisputed Hochschulchef, to make the shocks and the electrically assisted and variable ratio steering work in seamless and gratifying harmony. His challenge: take a car with 59.5% of its prodigious 3,409 pounds on the front axle and flush out the understeer to make it turn. One way is by tuning the outboard and inboard shocks to firm up or relax just at the right moment and to just the right degree. Another way is by tapping the inside ear brake to induce yaw. Stucky's efforts were a success. The heavy R changes direction with a furious urgency and slot cars through tight corners at stupendously brisk speeds, the rear end gently pushing, gently nudging the nose in your desired direction. There's so little fuss to it all, no squawking of tires, no torque steer when the big blow comes on, no tugging from the wheel or shimmying as you blast away on afterburner. The question is, do you need to spend the extra $2,495 for the up-level R with DCC? True, it gives you mood settings in the form of 3 modes, Comfort, Normal, and Race, that turn up the shock settings, steering effort, shift calibrations, and even the rate at which the steering-aligned headlights swivel. Or you can cherry-pick your own settings in a handy individual mode. And DCC comes bundled with a 19-inch wheels, parking sensors, and onboard navigation, though the latter system's painfully slow processor will quickly send you back to your smartphone for nav guidance. Having driven the bargain R, priced at $36,315 with a stick, we'd say no. The base car is as much fun as the DCC, if slightly softer when you want to go horn mud on a back road. All of which raises the question of whether the base R is worth the premium over a 220 horsepower GTI. The GTI offers many more choices, ranging from $25,605 for the basic 2-door manual to $33,460 for the 4-door Autobahn edition, though none come with 4Motion. Again, we'd say no. The GTI firmly remains the killer app in VW's catalog, not as fast but wholly as fun as the R. Meanwhile, the R sets the new speed pinnacle for square cars, beckoning drivers who can afford even more expensive machinery but want subtlety in a practical shape. After all, not everyone with the means has an 8-car carriage house. Many have one underground space between a concrete post and a Buick LeSabre. The R is expensive, but if life's circumstances dictate that you're on a horse rodeo, this is a classy supercube that can do it all.